Yes, thank you for that, my colleague. I'm going to go back, Ms. Scharf. We started on this about 800,000 Canadians that are going to be displaced, the people that are producing goods in Canada. We haven't even talked about agriculture and how that's going to be affected here, and I presume that's in addition to the 800,000. But the report that you refer to talks about 640,000 new jobs, subsidized jobs, in these new clean energy economies. So we're going to lose 800,000 plus. We're going to make all our industries inefficient. We're going to gain 640. Can you please show me how that math goes around? It's not a hard question, sorry.
It's not that it's not a hard question. I'm just having a bit of trouble following where all of these numbers are coming from. So
the
I'm having a hard time commenting.
In your report, a Clean Energy Canada's New Reality report that you quote when you spoke today, and the 800,000 was in the report we got here. About 70% of Canada's goods exports, employing 800,000 Canadians, will be affected by this transition.
So I have not read either of those report in great detail. I would perhaps.
But yet you quote it. You quote it in your report here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So it's
Canada,
a headline for you as opposed to an actual understanding.
No, that's not it. The reason why I quoted the Clean Energy Canada report as well as the RBC analysis was to provide some indications around the types of modeling that has been done in Canada around the types of opportunities that could be coming in the clean energy transition, as well as those reports being places where evidence and analysis could be brought to bear for this particular committee to look at where those opportunities may be.
Well, thank you very much. Let's go back to some of what you've raised here in your, and I appreciate that some of my colleagues have noted that there are words here that don't mean anything to anybody. They're just kind of strung together phrases on paper, and we do need to analyze these to see where Canadians are going, because they are used to seeing us, the officials in Ottawa, continue to say things that they cannot deliver on. Words coming out people's mouths and the way they affect people's lives are two different things. So I do know here you talk about smart investors know the opportunities of the future will need to be low carbon. Okay, well, where are the smart investors making money today, if I may ask? Just for a quick one. I think that the smart investors you're talking about are the ones that are being pushed by government to disinvest in actually profitable and sustainable industries. Any comment?
So the reference to smart investors is referring to there are a number of markets and industries that are growing significantly across the globe. I can quote you a few stats off the top of my head, looking at critical minerals, hydrogen, clean power production, where there's billions of dollars of investment that's moving in that space because they do offer the opportunity to provide low and zero carbon energy. So investors are making decisions to move into those industries.
Smart investors go counter-cyclical as opposed to cyclical, and they don't follow the herd, but we'll go through that some other time. You do talk in here about, in your report, the energy transition ahead of us, not about phasing out any industry. It's about industry making changes, reducing carbon intensity, and finding new ways to adapt to the changing market. And I think that's where industry wants us to be, and I appreciate that you put that in your report. But then you jump 3 points later to this. We know that some who work in high carbon intensity industry will lose their jobs, but we also know that the Canadian workers who built our current energy system have the know-how, the ingenuity, the work ethic that will see them thrive in green energy jobs. Now, these green energy jobs, speak about any idea what those are at this point in time?
So I believe we've gotten to that question. Oh, I'm sorry, I hear an echo of myself. Hello?
I think you're good. We're not getting an echo unless you're finding it distracting.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. It's actually been fixed. Thank you very much. So we have talked about that, I think, several times over this line of questioning about where those clean energy jobs or green jobs are, talking about zero emission vehicles and clean power production and clean energy like hydrogen production and biofuels, critical minerals. These are going to be the types of industries, trades, construction, where we're going to see those jobs being created. Okay. And I would like to point out that
I do bristle at this sort of, we're going to run towards green mining. If I have a few extra seconds here, Mr. Chair, because there was that echo there, I appreciate it. You do talk about the Atlantic Loop, the Clean Fuels Fund, without mentioning the GHG footprint associated with clean fuels, so-called clean fuels. You also talk about sustainability here. And when I was in the IEA, Jennifer Granholm had the same narrative that you have here, which is effectively that there's more jobs paying more money, but there's no cost to the consumer at the end of the day. I'm going to suggest that's a narrative and math that doesn't work. This will be much more expensive if the utopia that you're talking about of better jobs, paying more, is actually on the horizon. This is actually going to cost Canadians a lot of money. Thank you.
And I'll say we're at the end of time for that round, but I will give we have a bit of time on the clock here. So if anybody would like to respond to that sort of the closing statement there, I'm willing to give you the floor before we go to our final questioner for this afternoon. And seeing none, nobody rushing for the mic. It's not like we're in a game show, I guess. But I will then go to Mr.